Hola, mi Bishes. 'Tis I, Chlois, aka Manny Bish, over on Instagram. And today we are doing a little like icy kind of situation. I know it's spring, almost technically, whatever. However, we had like a cold, like a really cold front situation, a couple of weeks ago when I did this mani, and it just had me in the mood for some iciness, and so I figured, why not? So I'm using Dazed from Designer Dips, which is this blue color, and then I'm using Fire and Ice, which is a more of a clear base, reflective, holographic, flaky, which you'll see here in a second. Um, so I am just starting this off. Um, you can tell like about the time that I did this mani based on the fact that um, you know, I've got my Super Bowl nails over there. However, I could not find some of my stuff that I needed to do voiceovers for, which I know doesn't like, what do you need? You need your voice and whatever you're recording on. But I specifically could not find my microphone, and for like a week straight. And it turns out my husband had put some of his do rags in the same little pocket as my microphone, and it covered it up completely so I couldn't see it. And I get a lot of like feedback. It just doesn't sound good when I don't use my microphone. So I was looking into ordering a new one, and then I finally found mine. And at the same time, we like left town for my son's spring break. So it's been a whole situation. Anywho, I've got like 4 or 5 videos recorded now. I'm ready to get my voiceovers on and do the situation. So I am putting Dazed on thumb, uh, my thumb, my index finger, and part of my middle finger. And then Fire and Ice is going to go on my pinky, ring finger, and then part of my middle finger. We're going to do like a little ombre situation for the middle finger to like combine the two colors. And that's really all that this Fanny is. I'm not doing any like intricate art or even like little art, just a little ombre motion in the middle, trying to keep it like simple yet still a like a little something extra with the whole ombre situation of meeting the colors, but that's really all this is. So no hard work. Clearly, you can see that I am using the gel method. Once again, I've been using this for my last few manis. However, I finally did get some more dip liquids, and I am trying. That will be like, I don't know if it's the video after this or the next video. I will be using the dip liquids that I got. They're not Manny Boss this time. It's a new situation. Um, so I know that's different for me because Manny Boss, I've strictly used Manny Boss dip liquids for like the last 2 years, I think, with maybe trying something different in between, but it doesn't last. I usually always go back to my Manny Boss dip liquids. They are my favorite, so there's that. Uh, but I did run out of it and then had an issue with my like top coat that was completely my fault, not having the cap on it all the way and stuff. So that's why I've been using the gel method here recently until I could get more dip liquids, and I did. So anyhow, I'm doing 2 layers of the situation here, and I'm getting this one out of the way first, doing one dip at a one one dip at a time. Like, yeah, one dip at a time. That's the motto. One dip at a time. One color at a time, and then going on to this. And then I'll do the middle finger last because that's the one where I'm going to need both out, and it just in my head made it easier. So for this video, instead of starting with my middle finger like I always do, it's like become my signature thing to start with my middle finger. It's become a joke around here if you're new at this point. That I just like to, you know, flip y'all off right away, my bitches. But so if you're new here, that's our sense of humor around these parts. Now, uh, in this video, it's gonna be my last nail because it's gonna be the fancy nail. You know, I'll have a little pizzazz if I decide to flip somebody off. I don't flip people off on a normal, regular basis, like maybe once a year if I feel the need, but it's gonna be there, all pretty in its glory, if I feel the need to have my cash in my giving somebody the bird situation. Um, this is the first time, so I think Dazed I may have used before, but this is my first time using Fire and Ice, and it is, as you can tell, like more on the like, I was gonna say clunkier side, chunkier side. It's more, um, it's not as finely milded of a situation, but in my like mind, a lot of some of the flakies like are finely can still be finely milded and still have that flakiness to it, but this one I don't know if some of them aren't, and I've noticed that it seems to be the lighter colors that tend to be more chunkier than the darker colors. I don't know what that is or why. I've just noticed that, and it's from what I have noticed in using the lighter colors of flakies, it's like been across all brands for the most part, that if it's a clear base with flakies, it just seems to be chunky and more dense, question mark. I don't know. But anywho, I'm just, because I'm doing the gel method, I am like pouring all of this over and everything. And I am, while it's still wet and like getting that extra off, I am taking my finger and just lightly tapping it down to get as much of the like harsh shards of the flakies down so I won't have anything sticking up and it won't affect the filing situation when it comes to it. So, and you can see here, like I'm even going around the perimeter of my nail because sometimes those flakies, they'll stick off the nail and take it out of, like make the shape go out of whack and stuff. So I'm just pressing it around the free edge as well. Just when you're using the gel method until you put it in the light, everything is pretty malleable and movable and fixable for the most part. So just if you're doing gel method, having some issues, just use that to your advantage. Here I had a huge mess just happen and dumped the whole thing out on my nail. But I digress. I guess accidents happen. So I am putting each layer that I do, I'm putting it in the light for 90 seconds. That's just my go-to. I have the setting on my lamp for 15, 30, 60, 90. I use the 90-second cure just because I feel safest using that one. Sometimes I feel like some gel just doesn't cure all the way, and then especially dark colors, I will even double up on the 90-second cure for dark colors, especially black. But for these colors specifically, I'm just doing one round of 90 seconds, but that's per layer that I am doing. So I got my first layer of blue done, 90 seconds, second layer, 90 seconds, same with the flakies. And for this nail here in the middle, I'm doing an ombre, but I'm trying to go more about it at a diagonal angle. I didn't want a like perfectly vertical ombre. I don't know, it just I didn't feel that vibe. I wanted it just a little off center. So I am doing more of a diagonal, and that is just how that that is coming along. And I will say that I really did like the way that this nail came out as a diagonal ombre. I feel like for summer when doing, I think like some maybe like rainbow kind of colors, that this would be my vibe, I feel like, for some ombres that are going to happen. Um, so I did this. I have after there's gonna be a like I don't want to say drastic change, but like kind of a drastic change from this Manny to the next two videos that you guys will see because we're going from icy, it got cold, and then all of a sudden it got hot over here, so we just switched the vibe real quick. And then it was also spring break, and so I like did a vibe on that, and we just we this the vibe did a whole 180 over here, okay, after this Manny. So don't be surprised. Is it still cold where y'all are? Let me know in the comments below, like where you're located at, what state, and is it cold or not? I'm in Texas. I'm in South Texas, San Antonio to be exact, and the weather over here has been high, low situation. We had the whole cold front, and then it just, the next week, literally, it went from like 50 one day to 80 the next, and it was just wild. And it's still kind of been like that. I would say it's been more on the warm side now, but it just, it, the weather, I don't know. The weather has been weathering. It's been having some mood swings, I feel like. So, and I was in Oklahoma for a week last week. That's where we did spring break at. And the weather over there was kind of the same way, all over the place. A day of crazy wind. So, yeah, where are y'all at? And what is the weather like? Are y'all going through all the mood swings of weather too? Or is it just me and where I end up that I'm feel like I'm getting whiplash from this weather? Because one day I'll be bundled up, and the next day I'm in shorts and a tank top. I don't know. And so for this, so I did two layers on my ombre nail. For this, I am using my Manny Boss clear builder gel as my encapsulation because I do not want to file on these flakies just as they are. I want to encapsulate them. If you're doing flakies, chunky glitter, even fine glitter, like shimmer is you could be okay, but glitter, flakies, you want to encapsulate so you don't mess up the effect of it while filing. If you need to file your nails, you want to encapsulate because you do not want that effect to go away. Especially flakies, like, I haven't really noticed it so far unless it's a super pigmented situation, but glitter specifically, if you file on top of glitter, you take away that glitter effect and it just becomes a dull silver color. If you've had that happen, you know what I'm talking about. It's always a safe bet to encapsulate. So I am just encapsulating with my clear builder gel. When doing the gel method, you I don't recommend using gel and clear dip powder because the clear dip powder can with the gel can it doesn't absorb it properly all the time, and it can leave behind like specks and you can see it. So just either do 1 to 2 layers of a gel base, gel top coat, or do what I did and use a thicker gel. I used clear builder gel. So yeah, and then file buff, do what you gotta do your stuff, and then come back and do your top coat. And that's where we are at this moment. I am using the non-wipe top coat from Madam Glam. My gel preferences are kind of all over the place. I really like Madam Glam for their top coats and gels in general. And Manny Boss is one of my go-tos for builder gels and their top coats and base coats. They're two-in-one gel. Like if you're just a simple kind of person, don't care to have too many gels or anything, it's HEMA free. The two-in-one from Manny Boss is amazing and a go-to, but I need to restock on that. So these are my nails. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and me rambling. It's been a while, so I know I didn't focus too much on the Manny and instructions, but it was just nice to get out and talk with y'all. So leave a comment, like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. I will catch y'all in the next one. Bye, bitches!